Alright, welcome back to SouFLoTV again, everybody. It's your host with the most. You're looking at the Prime Minister of Jamaica, Andrew Holness, right here. Then we are going to look at this man right here, which is Dr. Horace Chang, which is the Minister of National Security. I'm putting a face to these names. Now we are looking at our Major General Anthony Anderson, who is top cop. Alright, Commissioner of Police, top police officer, top cop in the country. I put a face to these three men because a bizarre incident went down recently in Jamaica which sent a clear message, and the clear message sent was that the Minister of Security, National Security, the Prime Minister and the Police Commissioner are ineffective and cannot control the crime issue in Jamaica. So this happened as Jimmy Cliff, one of our most celebrated musicians out of Jamaica, festivities were on the way then to rename some part of Montego Bay Jimmy Cliff Boulevard instead of the name that it has now. And this is, you won't believe what happened next. I'm in disbelief, but I'm going to source it from the Gleaner and give it to you anyways. So the headline ran, and the headline said, gunmen rob locals and tourists on Mobay's hip strip. But check out when it happened. On a day when the Police Commissioner, Major General Anthony Anderson, and National Security Minister Dr. Horace Chang toured police stations and other government officials and dignitaries converged in the area, gunmen carried out a daring robbery, driving terror into locals and visitors on Montego Bay's Gloucester Avenue. Wow. This is to tell you, this sends a clear message. Police Commissioner who? Prime Minister who? Major General Anthony Anderson who? We don't fear any of you guys. You are not in control. Alright? So forget about them telling us that they have this crime thing under control. It is clear to see that they don't. Not to forget the brazen robbery that happened recently where the security guards lost their life and the Chinaman was the only man with about $20 million, I believe, or something like that. It was another show of force of gunmen. But anyways, this one says, hours before the city's famed hip strip was named Jimmy Cliff Boulevard, in honor of the international reggae icon, 4 men armed with handguns forced their way into Spice World supermarket and forced the employees, along with local and overseas shoppers, to lie on the floor before robbing them of cash and all their other valuables. So yes, tourists along with locals were forced to lay on the floor face down and robbed. All this is happening while our dear Minister of National Security and our dear Police Commissioner are touring the area. So, man, a Juta tour bus operator who was present in the establishment was also reportedly robbed of his licensed firearm. Bashir Sharu, the operator of Spice World, told the Gleaner that he is still reeling from the incident which took place about 10:40 a.m. He said, I have been at this location since the past 18 years, and this is the first time that something like this has ever happened. Well, let me tell you what. A lot of people are going to say, see, it doesn't happen all the time. It's the first time in 18 years this man says it has ever happened. Well, I have a different theory on that. I think it's a bad look that it happened, period. And the location that it happened is even worse. I will equate this to the shooting that happened outside of the roundabout leaving the Donald Sangster's airport. So you can imagine tourists coming into the country, right? And they're met with gunshots. like right off the airport exit. And now we call this our hip strip, and this goes down. They're laid face down and robbed at gunpoint. Yeah. All while the people who are telling you it's safe to come here, like your police commissioner, your prime minister, and your minister of national security. This is a joke. Minister of National Security, I put faces to those names when I started the video because I wanted you to understand. Think to yourself what these job titles entail. Minister of National Security, right? Commissioner of Police, and Prime Minister of the country. Okay, I'll continue. So he said it hadn't happened in 18 years. This is the first time this has ever happened. This is Mr. Sharu. It is very hard to come to terms with the fact that we were robbed. This is what Mr. Sharu said. He said it's very hard to come to terms with the fact that we were robbed. Not only that we were robbed, but the fact that we were robbed during the visit of the police commissioner and the Minister of National Security in the middle of a preparation for the Gloucester Avenue to be renamed to Jimmy Cliff Boulevard. So it's not just that they were robbed, it is the timing of when they were robbed and who was in the vicinity when they were robbed that makes this a really big deal. It is very hard to know that it took place in a supermarket which was filled with tourists and locals. Lots of tourists. It could have been more serious. Tourists could have been seriously hurt. He said tourists could have been seriously hurt. Right now, a lot of my Jamaicans are saying, hell, Jamaicans could have been seriously hurt too. Right? People could have been seriously hurt. But let's be realistic. Let's think it's a tourist town. Tourists are here shopping. They're doing a little bit of grocery shopping. And next thing, news headline says, tourists robbed and killed in grocery store on hip strip in Jamaica while on vacation. That came one trigger pull away from being exactly what a news headline would have been. Tourists could have been seriously hurt, he said. And to think that these gunmen are brave enough to come here, especially now, they will soon consider robbing the hotels as well, he said. Now remember we did a video long ago where we said where are they going to do it next? And we were talking about robbing and killing, right? And where are they going to do it next? And someone said in the church next. And we passed that because they did do it in the church. There were killings in the church, even though those killings in the church had to do with that individual's personal lifestyle. But it did happen in the church. Someone was brazen enough to carry out a killing in the church, and others were brazen enough to carry out killings not in the church but on church grounds or dump bodies on church grounds. So now they're concerned about they'll consider robbing the hotels next. I'm willing to bet that it's going to happen. So crime in St. James is definitely out of hand, and we definitely need more security personnel along Gloucester Avenue. We need a proper camera system and more police in the area on a daily basis. Let's revisit that proper camera system talk. Alright, so we've run these stories on SouFLoTV many times before, and we talk about problem, but we also talk about supposedly solutions or suggested solutions then. And one of the things that we've been pushing for a good while now is cameras. CCTVs with a central monitoring point. Especially in high profile areas like these, you would think there was a room somewhere where people would work shifts monitoring the cameras that monitor these streets. I mean, people spend a lot of money to come to Jamaica. These tourists, a lot of them aren't rich in the country they come from, believe it or not. But their money translates to a lot when they come to Jamaica, so it makes them look rich. A lot of them save a long time to be able to take this trip, and for them it's a glamorous situation. So for them to come and experience this, I think this is something that Jamaica would want to protect at the highest order. And I'm not saying that Jamaican lives are worth less than tourist life, because some people do get it misconstrued. But we have been pushing the whole camera thing for a long time, even in cases where local crime is committed amongst locals. We've been pushing for more cameras, CCTVs being monitored. We still see the same narrative every day in Jamaica. Two men ride up on a bike, man gets shot multiple times, two men, assailants, ride off. No one's ever seen them before, no one ever saw them again. Murder goes unsolved. It just happened recently with Owen, aka Fatherfowl. Now it happened with a good friend of his, Wani British, and it's happened with many other people in the country as well. To include I believe it was an 18-year-old or 19-year-old that was on a Yang in Westmoreland transporting a student to school, an 8 or 9-year-old child, and it happened to him as well. And it's happened to many more that we haven't reported. And the narrative remains the same, and it's becoming repetitive. And these people in a position of power, you're telling me that Dr. Horace Chan, Minister of National Security, Major General Anthony Anderson, we're talking about head of our police force, and our brilliant Prime Minister, Andrew Holness, they can't put their heads together and say, oh, you know what? Maybe if we put up a central monitoring point with a couple of cameras here and there, then we might be able to solve some things. I'm telling you, man, this leads people to believe that there's a sinister plot going on, because the solutions are not that complicated. And they spend billions of dollars, hundreds and millions of dollars in Jamaica every year on all kinds of other stuff. And billions of dollars, and I'm talking US dollars, are flowing into the country on a yearly basis. So security should definitely be a top priority. I'm starting to think that someone benefits from a lot of this stuff happening, so they don't push the agenda for tighter security. It's not that hard to tighten up security. Anyways, crime in St. James is definitely out of hand, and we definitely need more security personnel along the Gloucester Avenue, he said. We need a proper camera system and more police in the area on a daily basis. The St. James police have confirmed the incident, and they are now investigating the robbery. Now, you know Jamaican people ain't too happy with this. And I'm talking about the law-abiding citizens, because it ain't them per se. Well, not per se. It's not the law-abiding citizens that's carrying out these acts. It's people who are outside of the law that are carrying out these acts, and they give one cahoot or two poops about what the reputation of the country becomes. They don't care if tourism stops, like at 100%, and then there are no jobs in the tourist industry. Could you imagine if that actually happens? If Jamaica gets to the point where they say, we're not going to Jamaica anymore, and our tourist industry, which is thriving, suddenly dries up. Well, I can give you a scenario. A lot of people would turn to crime. A lot of people would look for ways to put food on their plate, and the country would go into turmoil, believe it or not. Someone said a long time ago, if you're dependent on tourism to run your country, or as the backbone of your country, then you're doomed, because any day those people can change their mind. So Coretta Burgess says, we are waiting until a couple tourists get knocked off or killed by gunmen before anything substantial is done to really halt the crime wave. It is simply a matter of time before this happens, and I truly agree. And it's going to be ugly. DDT says, it was only a matter of time before they target the hit strip. Total destruction of these criminals is the only way to stop the infestation in Mobe. Operation Chaos says, when tourists are affected, you can bet your last dime that something will be done, and the perpetrators will likely be caught. Well, let's see. Original Foxy Lady says, OMG, what a shame on us. The monsters have no regard for the law, and I hope that there was cameras in operation. Glad that no one was injured though. Shaking my head. Where are the boots on the ground that Chan promised that would remain there? Them lie, them lie, them lie. Yep, and that's what politicians do. Leave your comment in the comment section below. Tell me what you think about this one. It's SouFLoTV, man. I'm out. Peace.